In this video, we're going to cover objective 1.5, understand legal and regulatory issues that pertain to information security in a holistic context. If you are following along, congratulations. If this is the first time you watch this video, then and you want to follow along, I would recommend that you go back and watch my other videos for this journey to the CISSP 2024. In this section, we will cover cyber crimes and data breaches, licensing and intellectual property or IP requirements, import and export controls, transborder data flow, and privacy. We talked a little bit about the laws about privacy, but now we're going to be talking about privacy, specifically about privacy. So objective 1.5 of the CISSP exam delves into the legal and regulatory landscape surrounding information security, which we touched a little bit on the previous section. Cyber crimes and data breaches, a topic that is on the news every day. Understanding the criminal landscape is critical. This includes the types of cyber crimes, such as data breaches, identity theft, denial of service attacks, ransomware, of course, etc. Relevant laws, laws that criminalize a specific cyber activities, such as the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, the CFAA in the US. Although not many people hear about these laws, people just hear all these data breaches, but what a lot of people don't see is that a lot of people also go to jail and they are found guilty, and it's because some of these laws. Data breach notification requirements, regulations mandating organizations to notify individuals and authorities in case of a data breach, again, like the GDPR or various state laws in the United States. These laws are becoming more important to understand them. And every day there seems to be a new law, especially in the United States, because as I said before, there is no overarching general law like the GDPR, but every state has its laws. But there is a new mandate now when it comes to data breach notifications. The company actually have to notify promptly when they are breached. And as an executive in a company, as a cybersecurity professional, these are some things that we need to know. Licensing and intellectual property or IP requirements. Organization must comply with licensing requirements or agreements for software and other intellectual property that they use. And this includes software licensing terms, understandings, usage rights, and restrictions associated with software license. A lot of companies do not monitor. They have these licenses, but they don't keep an eye on the number of licenses that they are using compared to the number of licenses that they are entitled. And many companies get fined. If you get audited by one of these vendors, again, you're going to be fined. So it's important that we keep track of that. Open source software, OSS licensing. So following a specific licensing terms that govern the use and distribution of open source software. There is a misunderstanding about open source. Yes, open source means that you can modify the source, you can look at the source to your own needs, but again, that doesn't mean that it's that there's no licensing requirements in some cases. So it's important that we understand that. Copyright and trademark laws, protecting an organization's own intellectual property while respecting the rights of others, it's also paramount. And intellectual property is one of the most important asset in any company. So if you have any proprietary technology or software, obviously intellectual property is extremely important. When it comes to import and export controls, regulations governing the import and export of certain technologies and data can impact information security practices. And this include export control laws, restrictions on exporting certain technologies or data due to national security concerns, especially in the United States. This is really huge. International Traffic in Arms Regulations, or ITAR, in the US. So any company, any contractor that works with the federal government needs to know about this. Encryption regulations. There are limitations on using encryption technology due to potential national security implications. Customs controls, procedures for securely importing and exporting IT equipment and data. So if you work for the federal government or any company that is associated with the federal government, if you're going to travel abroad, if you're going to go out of the United States, there's a number of forms that you need to fill out. And again, you have to be careful the equipment that you take out of the United States, because if you are checked and you have technology, if you are gone out of the country with some tools and technology that you're not supposed to, and you have not properly disclosed, then that could also put you get you into trouble. Transborder data flows. So regulations may restrict how organizations transfer data across borders, which is related to what I just said. So understanding this regulation is crucial, including data localization laws. So requirements for storing data within a specific geographical boundaries, that is certain industries, like for example, China. Going into China from the United States, especially if you work on some of these government agencies or any company that has to do with important technologies, you gotta be careful. China, North Korea, and Iran, and Russia, of course. Data residency laws. Regulation specifying where data must be processed. Again, it's really important. Again, if you work for an international company that does business in the EU, the GDPR requirements for processing data of U.S. citizens, it's something that you must understand. And when it comes to privacy concerns, considerations for protecting personal data when transferring across borders. When it comes to privacy, protecting personal data is a major legal and regulatory concern for organizations. So some key points over here to understand is regulations governing the collection, use, and disclosure of personal data. We have talked about the GDPR, the CCPA, and many other states in the United States that restrict this. Data subject rights, which individuals' rights to access, rectify, or erase their personal data held by organizations. We live in a world of disinformation, and we live in a world where the integrity of data is paramount. A lot of your information may be wrong, right? And it is very important when it comes to privacy laws that you have the right to correct, to rectify that information. Data minimization principles. So collecting and storing only the minimum amount of personal data necessary for specific purposes. It seems to be that we have lost privacy. Some companies, they collect all sorts of information. So they and there have been a lot of companies with with names, reputable company that have been found guilty of selling information without your consent. In a lot of cases, there are some prints in the documentation and really small letters that nobody's reads. But again, um, it, these things as an IT person, as an executive of a company, as a security professional, it is important that we read everything carefully. And even as a regular citizen, signing into this social media places and everywhere that we go on the internet, in a lot of cases, we are giving these companies the right to do anything that they want from from collecting this data. So there is a lot of responsibility on individuals nowadays, where basically you have to keep an eye open on everything, and it's really important that we take that into consideration when it comes to privacy. So what does this holistic understanding mean when it comes to privacy and regulations and in with respect to the CISSP and the cybersecurity of a company? Well, these legal and regulatory issues are interconnected. For instance, a data breach can trigger legal ramifications based on the type of data compromise and the applicable regulations. Every time that there is one of these big data breaches, there's also a lawsuit, right? that against those companies. So it's not just the reputation and all the money that is spent trying to correct the error, but also there are all the lawsuits that involve also monetary penalties from these companies. Likewise, import and export controls can influence how an organization secures sensitive data when transferring it overseas. So by building a solid understanding of these areas, you'll be well equipped to navigate the complex legal and regulatory environment surrounding information security. So this knowledge empowers you to make informed decisions, minimize legal risks, and ensure your organization complies with relevant requirements. And of course, this is an important topic for the CISSP certification and any other security certification that you may take. And with that, we conclude this section. In the next video, we will cover objective 1.6, understand requirements for investigation types, such as administrative, criminal, civil, regulatory, industry standards. So I'll see you then.